I got put to sleep in like 2012 at Pan. This guy's like the size of a door jam. I'm up on points. I'm up like 7-0, or next thing you know, he gets a choke in. And I just hear 30 seconds. I got 30 seconds. My girlfriend at the time was watching me. I can just hear her like, come on, Matt. And the next thing I'm here, come on, Matt. It's like, bruh.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BJJ Balance Podcast. My name is Kenny. I'm here with my co-host, Matt.
What up?
And we've got a special guest today, Mr. Tony Martinez.
Hello, what's going on, guys?
First of all, follow us on all our stuff. At BJJ Balance, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Spotify, Amazon, all that good stuff. Leave reviews and the stuff because, you know, everything's been going good thus far. So today, first of all, introduce Tony. Tony, what's going on, my man? Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you been training?
Yeah, man. I've been doing martial arts since I was like 10, 11, you know what I mean? And then my mom really signed me up for Taekwondo. I was like 13, got my black belt by the time I was 15.
Okay.
And then I just went from there, like moved to Hawaii, kickboxed for a long time. And then not too much kickbox, like a lot of like yard, you know what I mean? Like training, you know what I mean? But, you know, Hawaiians bang, man. And moved out here. And then like that was when UFC started getting big. It was like 2000.
You can bring it closer.
Oh, yeah. So it was like 2000, I'd say 6-ish, 7. And I really was like, dude, I want to do this. I've already done like a bunch of different martial arts and stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, give it a go. And then I moved to Temecula and I told some guy that I was, you know, kicking it with, that I was working with at Arco right off of Inez right here. And he's like, yeah, I know someone who trains like fighters and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, like let me get his number and stuff. And then that was when I met my trainer Spike. And dude, that was it. We got together in February, right, of 2007, and then got a fight by May. It was like May 2008 was my first fight. How did you
get into jiu-jitsu from a taekwondo or a stand-up art? Like what made you want to like grab a neck and toss somebody? Yeah,
man. Like I was telling Kenny, it's a funny story. It was like my first fight went well, dude. Like they signed me up for the fight, and then it didn't happen. It was like I had a month to train, right? So it didn't happen. It was like 2 weeks till the fight. Then they called me like 5 days before the fight, and he's like, "Hey, man, another guy dropped out. Like, do you want to fight this guy?" You know what I mean? And he's a 1-0 guy. Las Vegas MMA out here. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll still fight him. I was still within weight. So went out there, TKO'd him in the first round. And that was when I was like, I knew this is for me. So second fight, right, comes around. I'm fighting this kid. I fought Justin Lin, right? He was the one that the dude starched in the Bellator.
Okay.
Okay.
Of his name. But yeah, he starched him, man. And then, but he submitted me by armbar. I was whooping him whole first round, whooped him, second round come out, whooped him, and then he took me down, armbarred me, tap. And I was like, oh man, all right, well,
you're like, oh, I need to learn this.
Still wasn't doing jiu-jitsu right. Like the guy that I got with, Spike, he was mainly like a Taekwondo guy. That's why we clicked so well. And then he was just rugged in his training, man. So I loved him, and I still stick with him. And so third fight comes around, man. Get a guy, a jiu-jitsu guy, watched all, like he had 3 fights, watched his fights, takes guys down like super fast, no problem, right? And then, so all 3 rounds, right? It's for Tough Enough. They're 2-minute rounds. So that's 6 minutes of fighting for 5 minutes and like 40 seconds. I'm whooping this kid like bad all over the place, right? Takes me down last 20 seconds of the fight, armbar like that.
Oh, wow.
From mount, right? And after that, I remember just thinking like, I got to get some jiu-jitsu, dude. Like, and then like me, like being young and like naive, like I was like, I'm just going to get enough jiu-jitsu to where like I can keep guys from taking me down. And obviously I'm, you know, whooping these guys that
everybody
are from good
to be
gyms.
Chuck Liddell. They're like, hey,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sprawl and brawl.
So I was like, totally had that mentality, right? And then I was, you know, in for a good ride, man. I signed up for, at the time it was Gracie Baja with Ricardo Guimaraes. Shout out to him, man. He's been a big help with my jiu-jitsu journey. Got my purple belt from him, but signed up from him, and it was like 2009. and then just fell in love with it. Like there's no just doing only a little bit, you know what I mean? Like yeah, I'm in for the long haul now.
Do you think that, how did your game change? Because I know Taekwondo is very heavy kicks.
Yeah.
Did your game, once you learned jiu-jitsu, did you kind of like say, I'm throwing more hands, I'm only going to kick when necessary? Because I know in Thai, you hit a lot of lower extremities, legs.
Yeah.
Taekwondo's usually you don't kick the legs at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to kind of adjust your game. Did you kind of evolve to more of like, the kicks were there if you needed them?
Yes.
It's like for like finishing, but like you were more like almost turned into like a Thai or, you know what I mean? Like how did like, because your game has completely changed.
Yeah, 100%, man. My trainer Spike was actually a big kicker of the legs. But in Taekwondo, yeah, like pure Taekwondo, you don't really kick to the legs, right? Because they typically will kick with the top of their foot or the side, right? Like top of the foot. Like I'm breaking the top of my bones right there. You know what I mean? So kickboxing really changed that to, you know, more direct with the shin. And but he would, you know, whip that front leg, bam, and we're tearing down that front leg, make it hard for the guys to shoot, you know what I mean, tear down that front leg, and that was always a big part of it. And then, but I was always loved throwing hands, you know what I mean, that's like, I'm firing 1-2s down to like one after another, but it definitely evolved because like the level changes, you know what I mean, like when I started like to learn how to like shoot, not really like from wrestler style, but like jiu-jitsu, Ricardo was like big on like a lot of sweeps and throws. And so it definitely changed my whole game up, man. Like I would use those level changes to come back high. Like I have a lot of like clips of that, like me ducking and then like throwing high. So it helped me, you know what I mean? And then like I would defensive wrestle too, like use it like a little bit. I remember like I took those 2 losses, right? Like back-to-back arm bars. And then my 4th fight in Vegas, my first 4 were in Vegas. My last one in Vegas, I actually won by head and arm choke. It was pretty dope. Like so, like I loved it. That was like one of my favorite moments of fighting. Was like, dude, I went in there, and this was like 2010. So this is 2 years into jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? And then I was kind of figuring it out. You know what I mean? I was around that blue belt, and like I went for this throw. It was so dumb. I went for this throw and I didn't have like over his head. I kind of had around his lat little, and I went to throw him, and we slipped. We were sweaty, and I literally did like a diving front roll, and then he landed on top of me, like kind of like half guard. And he was like this, like, I'm sorry, he was like putting his forearm on my throat, like trying to reach up and punch, but I had him like head control, and I was like, push the arm, and I pushed the arm, caught him in head and arm from the bottom.
Oh,
so I didn't finish him from the bottom, right? So I caught him in that, and I still use that till this day because it was something like, whoa, that was like the first time that situation had happened. You know what I mean? Like how that like transpired. So I was like, oh yeah, I can use it even for control, and then like hip out and then use it for the sweep. And that's exactly what I did. I caught him in it, kept it tight, let him punch his arm out. You know what I mean? It was hit me in my ribs, and then I swept him and finished on top.
Or you could like take the back.
Yeah, and I literally just put the knee on the side of his hip so he couldn't move, and squeezed until he tapped. I got up, bowed to him, man, and I just was elated with like, so happy, man. Like that I put in all that work, and then that was the result. You know what I mean? A striker just literally, you know, added some ground game.
Right.
And it worked.
So you got into fighting. Was there a reason? Were you just like throwing hands in school all the time? Were and you're like, you know, hey man, I kind of like doing this.
Yeah, I wasn't a trouble kid, but I didn't I didn't run from nobody. I wasn't scared of nobody, man. And that was really instilled by my uncle. You know, he's been in prison since I was like, I don't know, 10. He actually literally just got out. Like, nice. Remember I kept telling you, he was like, he's going to get out. It was like 5 years later. He's like, finally gets out. I'm 38 now, dude. You know what I mean? So he's been in for some time. And so he's out. That's cool, man. I'm happy for that. And but he would always give me like, he'd pump me up through letters, dude, in jail. We'd write each other back and forth since I was little, man. And I didn't really have a father figure, so that was my father figure.
Yeah, I got a stepbrother myself who doing life.
Oh shit.
He was he was a real piece of crap, but yeah, he killed a guy.
With a trident?
Not with a trident. Yeah, he kidnapped the guy, stabbed him a couple times. He's prospecting for the Hells Angels, and he just got into some crazy stuff. So yeah, I know how that is. He got a cell phone, and he tried to call me a bunch of times, and I was like, nah, man. And like, I just like, I don't want nothing to do with you. You used to beat the crap out of me when I was little, so I'm gonna pass and not and stay in there. He's like, get me out. Can you get me out? My case is messed up, and I was all. He's all, talk to your, my uncle's a cop. He's all, talk to your uncle about it. Because the guy the DA who convicted me, he is shady. And I was like, I talked to my uncle. My uncle's like, he did kill the guy though, right?
Like that part didn't change, right?
I was all, yeah. And he's all, well, let's leave him in there. I was like, hey,
that's probably not.
I'm all, say less, Dad, say less.
That's great.
Oh my God.
So
Fun fact about me.
So yeah, man, he gave me, he would always give me like tips like that. I would ask him legit, like, yo, dude, like, how do I talk to girls? He was a pimp, you know what I mean? So like, he was a legit pimp. So I would ask him, how do I talk to girls and like confidence? And he would always tell me like, don't be scared of no motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I don't care how big you are, you take that ass whooping. You know what I mean? You either give it or you take it. You know what I mean? So it kind of gave me that like puff out my chest a little bit. This is like 13 years old, you know what I mean? And I remember my first fight in school. Yeah, I whooped he was much also? Bigger than me. My uncle, he's Filipino. He's like, we're mainly Filipino. Okay. Yeah. And so yeah, after I whooped that big kid in like 8th grade, I was like, oh yeah, I got the dog in me. You know what I mean? And then it was like how me getting into fighting actually happened. Like I was living with my friend, and I was living with him in an apartment, and he couldn't have guests, you know what I mean? And that was all I really had. I had a job and everything, so I got kicked out of there, and I was like homeless, living out of my car, man, like working, you know what I mean? I would like drive up to my job at night and just fall asleep in my car and like wake up, go to work, you know what I mean? And then like my manager after that like found out, and he was like letting me like sleep at the shop.
You were all about it.
Yeah, I wasn't really doing crap with my life, dude. I remember, like, honestly, man, like, I remember going to the park, have nothing to do, like, during the day, you know what I mean? Like, on the days that I was off, I had nothing to do. It was like I can kick it at the house, you know what I mean? I was kicking it in my car, bumping CDs and stuff, you know what I mean? And I remember going to the park, and now I'm, like, 18, 19-ish at this time. And I remember going to the park, and I was like, you know, I'm just going to run. And I ran some laps, you know what I mean, around the park. And then I was shadow boxing like on these leaves from the tree, like kicking the leaves, see if I can still do all my kicks and stuff like that from Taekwondo. And I could, man. I still love it. So, and then that was when I moved, like right then and there. My mom found out. She was like, "You're living out of your car, stupid." She was living out here in Temecula. She was like, "Dude, come over here." Like I was like, "All right, let me put my 2 weeks in, gather up this money." My car had broken at that time. Like I had done some dumb move and like crashed into the curb. And it broke my old pan, so it couldn't drive anywhere. And then I just sold it to Ecology for like $300, and then moved out here.
So it made that high pitch.
Yeah, yeah. So and then that's how I started, man. I moved out here, got with Spike, and then it's been a wrap ever since, man. I love it.
One of the things that we've talked about, I guess, a couple of times on different episodes is like, do you feel like fighting or training jiu-jitsu or whatever, like when you run into people that, or you hear, like, that's kind of how we met. Like we worked at the same spot, but then I had mentioned to somebody that I did jujitsu, and they were just like, "Oh, Tony does jujitsu," and then I was just like, "Oh, really?" Yeah. And then I was like, I was 6 months in, white belt, 10th planet, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a brown belt." I'm like, "Fuck, I want to be there,
dude."
You'll get there.
And then like, yeah, I remember that. I was like, dude, that's so awesome that this like. He was like the first person I met that, like, out of everybody that I knew that did jujitsu. Like,
I don't care, man. Like, I'll take it. Like, whatever. Yeah, I'm a white belt. Like, good for you, dude. Let's talk.
Yeah. It was like I never ran into that situation before in life. You know what I mean? We're like, oh yeah, I do jujitsu. Like, you know,
did you come back from like when I started? And when I started, there were hardly any black belts in the area.
Rarely.
So it's like when I lived in Hemet, I was training under a blue belt, and he was going to the class. And what he learned there, he'd bring back to his garage, and then we'd train, and then we'd just like learn it all, and then we'd go take a smoke or fight, and then that's what you did, like, because the closest black belt was like 40 minutes away. Yeah. So we had no idea. So I was like, I'm gonna be a white belt forever. That's why I was a white belt for over 5 years, because I didn't actually start training till like 3 years in. I finally made it to, an actual gym. So you were there from the early days.
Yeah, man. It was cool. Like, so
now there's black belts everywhere.
Yeah. Right. They're every popped up everywhere, man. So when I first got together with Spike, it was just me and him. It was just it was like one-on-one personal training, right? And so I didn't have any training partners, right? Like you're only as good as your training partners, right? I'm going out and fighting these guys from legitimate gyms, you know what I mean?
Right.
And these guys got training partners. They're training at actual gyms from Vegas, you know what I mean? Like solid gyms. And I'm going out there and whooping on these guys, you know what I mean? I didn't have any training. But one thing that I respected from him all the time is he would actually take me out to like different gyms and like pay the mat fee. And we go train with those guys. And he'd be like, hey, man, like my guy needs some sparring.
He's got to get you work, yeah.
Dude, so I got to spar some like legitimate guys like going, and it was like, that's the kind of best kind of training if you think about it, right? Like you guys always talk about like go to open mats, you know what I mean? And roll with people that you don't know like their styles.
Well, yeah, because they're going to come hard on your ass.
You know what I mean? Dude, dude. They were licking their chops, dude. Like I went to Undisputed in downtown San Diego, like solid gym. Went to City Kickboxing, right? Like a bunch of gyms, dude, and like sparred some really cool guys. Funny story, first time I ever got dropped, right? Like we went to, I think it was Undisputed. And I sparred the guy said he was the number 6 K1 kickboxer from Japan. Little light 125 guy, my height, you know what I mean? And I was watching him warm up on the bag and he's just kind of pitter-patting in the bag. And I'm like, oh, you know, I got this guy, you know what I mean? And I go in there and I'm tearing him up with jabs, dude. Bam, bam, hitting him, bam, bam, kicking his leg. And he's just like slowly stalking me, dude, checking everything. And then he gets me in the corner. And this is the fastest like body headshot like I've ever felt. It was like pop, pop. And then the kick came high, bang. And then like my coach said, it dropped me to one knee and I popped up real fast. And so like, say the ring is like this, right? We're in the very corner. So there's a window to my right. And like through the window, you can see cars passing by, right? So I had the window to my right when that little situation happened, you know what I mean? And then I popped up and I remember everything coming to, and I was watching car go by. And I was like, what the hell? And then he was to my left and I turned to my left and he's like, you know, barely speaks any English. He's like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, dude. Like, what's up? And then the guy is like, he's like, nah, bro. He's like, take a knee, bro.
It sucks.
Take a knee, bro.
It sucks when you get put out or you get put to sleep.
Yeah.
I got put to sleep in like 2012 at Pans. I talked about the story yet?
No.
I was in Pans. I got put to sleep.
You mentioned that you wanted to, but
because the guy's like the size of a door jamb, and I'm up on points. He's a big guy. We're doing the 8th grade slow dance. I miss. I end up on top. I'm winning. I'm up like 7-0 or 6-0, whatever. And everyone's like, hold it there. Carlson Gracie Jr. is coaching me, which was pretty cool. Think about it. And next thing you know, he gets a choke in. And I'm like, oh, damn, this is pretty tight. It's pretty tight. And I'm like gargling. But I'm thinking to myself, like, well, I'm gargling. If I'm gargling, I'm getting a little air in there. I was like, and I just hear 30 seconds. You got that. I'm like, I got 30 seconds.
Right.
For sure
I
got 30 seconds. And then my girlfriend at the time was watching me. And she's like, I can just hear her like, come on, Matt. And the next thing I'm here, come on, Matt. It's like,
why are you guys talking so slow?
And like, the next thing you know, I'm walking. And I'm like, I guess the guys were shaking my feet trying to wake me up, but I don't even remember that. I just remember walking off the mat and I'm like, I look at Carlson Gracie Jr. and I go, did I win? And he goes, I got put out. I got put to sleep.
Dang.
Wow, dude. That was like my first Pans, white belt. Put to sleep.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tap. And everybody, so if you're competing and the choke is in, yeah, obviously if you're up on points, you think you can survive. But just know, if I would have tapped, nobody would have saw. But since I got put to sleep,
you got highlight reels.
6 mats. Everybody's like, oh, that guy's sleeping over there. And everybody's in the whole
stops and takes a look.
The whole Bren Event Center looks down and sees Matt's pasty ass getting his legs shake side to side. that was my story when I got put to sleep in Pans. So who was your influences? So like in MMA, like my favorite fighter of all time is GSP. GSP is my favorite fighter of all time. When you said like changing levels to hit high kicks, like when he looked down at Matt Hughes' feet and then hit him with that head
beautiful.
kick,
Set
like
it up.
all that kind of stuff. So GSP's always been my guy because I kind of like the humble approach to the MMA fighter.
Absolutely.
I'm not really into like the Conor McGregor style or the Nick Diaz boys style of like shit talking, even though I know it draws cash, but I just kind of like the humble, you know,
go out there
more
and
of the
kick ass.
martial arts approach to things. So who was yours?
I actually was like a fan of boxing. Like when I was young, you know what I mean? My mom would get the fights all the time. And I remember watching Diego Corrales for the first time.
R.I.P.
And it was like one of the very first fights I remember like sitting down and watching a whole fight. And I was young. I was like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I like Felix Trinidad.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah. The guys that like rumble like that, you know what I mean? So I remember watching him against Jose Luis Castillo. The first fight was, oh my gosh, dude. And I just remember watching him like, dude, that guy is a warrior. You know what I mean? Like he took so many punches.
And so you
went
chose
down.
MMA over boxing because of the previous kickboxing or taekwondo.
Yeah, like
you're like, I'm
I
gonna
liked
switch you.
throwing hands and feet. You know what I mean? And I remember just watching my very first fight that I fell in love with was it was a pride fight. And it was that Don Fry versus the Japanese guy.
Oh, the hung toy.
Yeah, dude, where they were just like bombing on each other, just holding each other, and the guy was headbutting Don Fry's punches back to back. And he was like, couldn't dodge him, fucking headbutt him. You know what I mean? And,
that was a classic.
yeah, man. And then just watching guys like Anderson Silva on Pride and Alistair Overeem before he was on the alligator meat. You know what I mean? So but yeah, boxers, man. I was like, these guys are warriors, you know?
I remember some good fights when I was a kid. You know, you had your De La Hoyas versus Pernell Whitaker and stuff like that.
Trinidad.
De La Hoya or Vargas.
And Trinidad.
Yeah, that was great too. Like all that. Was it De La Hoya Vargas too?
Yeah.
Where they like, you ain't a real Mexican, and De La Hoya stopped him in the
out,
corner.
yeah.
All that stuff. I remember being in high school being like, damn. Boxing ain't like that, but we had a good boxing fight yesterday.
Yeah.
We had a good segue. We had a good box. So we had Francis Ngannou, the MMA former UFC heavyweight champ. He signed with ONE, which I don't think Francis is going to be.
PFL.
PFL. PFL, right? Oh yeah, PFL. Sorry, I don't think he's going to be doing MMA ever again.
Yeah, after that.
I think his MMA days are done.
He found his calling.
Well, he's going to walk away from this with after pay-per-view went out, probably 15 to 30 million. You know what I mean?
One fight. He had to do that.
Yeah, easy.
to how
And
many
then
fights.
now the rematch.
Yeah. He'll probably make 100 million off that rematch.
Him versus Wilder.
That would sell just because they're both bombers.
Him versus Joshua.
Yeah.
Him versus Ruiz.
After watching yesterday, I think he might have an actual better boxing game than Wilder. I was actually impressed at how well he was able to move.
He was setting traps and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I thought the way for him to win was just to make it awkward and crazy brawling, almost because he did with Rosenstrike and just blitz.
Yeah.
But he wasn't punching first. He was letting he's letting Fury throw, and he was just trying to counter,
Catch him coming in.
threw him off. Now, did Fury take the fight serious? I don't know. Maybe he didn't. But you know,
It wasn't the Fury I'm used to seeing in this. Let's say his last 3 fights. You know what I mean? Like he didn't move the same way. There was from like the first round, he was clinching up and hanging on him. I'm like, is he just trying to tire his arms out? Like
with the signing of Usyk, you would think that like maybe he's not taking this serious.
Yeah. He doesn't want to get maybe too hurt. You know what I mean? Going into that Usyk fight, because Usyk's no joke, man.
No.
He could box. Like, and especially off what we've seen, I mean, with Ngannou right there. Like, Usyk can box. He's like a heavyweight Lomachenko, just doesn't move as much angles, you know what I mean? But that guy can string together a 5-6 punch combo.
Yeah, it's pretty cool seeing, as much as I wanted to see John Jones versus Francis.
Oh, man, that broke my heart.
yeah.
And now John Jones got hurt.
Yeah.
So we can't have nice things.
No.
And they're like, what happened to Stipe? I'm like, guys, I don't think Stipe wants to fight anybody but John Jones. It's more of like a legacy grab for him.
He's got one more.
He doesn't want the belt. He just wants the who's the GOAT heavyweight. And John Jones was the only name he wants. Otherwise, he's not going to fight.
Yeah.
So that's why they moved on to the new
There's
fight.
no needle movers in the heavyweight division other than those two, I think.
Right. These guys are good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. What's his name? Their names are slipping my head right now. But the one kid from England, he is well rounded, and I think he would be trouble for John Jones.
Yeah.
I never
Tom
bet
Aspinall?
against John Jones. Aspinall.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right
And then
now.
Pavlovich or
Pavlovich.
Pavlovich, dude.
Yeah, Sergey Pavlovich.
Yeah, Sergey Pavlovich. He throws hands.
He throws heaters.
So that's going to be a good fight. I just don't think it's going to draw the numbers that it would have, you know, with the John
with
Jones Stipe.
John's
obviously.
drawn all the numbers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the GOAT. You know what I mean?
So
Plus, he's looking good at heavyweight too.
Yeah. I honestly think, like, again, with the puncher's chance that Ngannou has, if we would have seen Ngannou Jones, I still think Jones ragdolls him.
I think Jones rags him.
He gets him down. He's not dumb. He's like kind of like GSP in a way. Like, remember, like, he was a striker at first, you know what I mean, knocking out everybody. And then, like, once he realized that he can out wrestle like the best wrestlers in the division, he was grapple fucking everybody.
Well, I talked to my cousin every day on the way home, and we constantly talk fighting and whatnot. And when I have reminded him and other people, I'm like, John Jones comes from like freak athlete DNA. You know what I mean? He's got 2 brothers in the NFL.
Champions.
Yeah. It's like
Championship
he's
blood.
he's the guy's genetics are just superior.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones is gone ape shit crazy though right now.
Yeah, he's off the rocker right now. He's off his rocker.
He's like singing songs on Instagram and shit. He's my man. My man needs help.
Yeah.
Well, some people do that. Some people do a bunch of coke and then go fight the next day. So for a belt.
Right.
So yeah, wild family.
And they say too, like remember on Rogan, he was like to be like the heavyweight champion of the world at that young of an
23?
age, at 23.
Yeah.
Like you're fucking gonna go crazy, dude. You got all the money in the world to do whatever you want.
Right.
You know
And
what I mean?
and you're the baddest man in the baddest sport in one of the baddest divisions.
And
you
the
know?
guys, like the B light heavyweight champion, the guys that he beat, Machida and Shogun.
Yeah,
and,
just everyone.
like they're like his list of guys is Rampage, Rashad Evans. Like the guys he beat is way better than GSP's. Even though GSP cleared his division twice, you got to give the edge to Jones on just competition wise. The guys he beat are like he's got so many Hall of Famers on his belt.
Right.
All of them.
All
He's
of
got all
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That one decision loss or not decision loss.
No contest.
No contest.
If there was a trial by combat and you're like, hey Matt, I need you to pick one person to fight for you so you can live. I'm like picking John Jones as my guy.
100%.
Against anyone.
I'm like, let me pick first. Like, and I don't think Francis would be 2.
No.
You know, I don't know who would be 2. Who would be 2? If John Jones is number 1, if John Jones is the first guy that defends you for your life, who's number 2? I don't think it's GSP because he's small.
Yeah, you got to go with someone like huge. I'd go with
Do they have to fight somebody equal?
No, you just pick a guy.
Yeah, they
Fuck.
gotta defend your life.
It's so close. It's so close.
I
Number
go with
2,
like Gokhan Saki or someone like that, dude. Like
it's so
hardcore
right. It's so
kickboxer.
close, right? It's
Right.
so close in picking your guy. The number 2 is so close, and John Jones is so far away. The number 1,
Right.
that this shows how great John Jones is. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't think of a number 2. You're like, I don't have to think about it for a second. Can I sleep on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was like your life or my life and you got Jones and I'm like, who do I have
Yeah,
to
like
pick?
it's like a draft pick. Like, it's an 8-man tournament, and then we're just gonna draft pick these guys. Like John Jones is obviously off the board, number 1.
Yeah. So who do I
I'm
gotta
picking the beat John Jones. I'm picking, and this might sound stupid, but to me, because styles make fights, and you can pick primes, hopefully.
Primes.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay. You can pick primes. I'm not picking any heavyweight boxer from the history because John Jones will take him down. John Jones not known for power, right? I might be picking Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, okay. To piggyback off of this, when I heard USADA was out the door, and I was like,
Vitor's coming back.
no, my thought was let Jones recover, put him on some juice right now. Because he's got to recover.
Yeah.
USADA's out. Bring Lesnar back and give me my July card fight of Lesnar versus Jones on juice.
On juice.
Is it a convenience that USADA's out? They signed the deal, WME or whatever, WWE.
Right.
And it's like, okay, Ronda's no longer wrestling. Brock Lesnar's kind of take it like, are we bringing back the sauce?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know they said there's a new company coming in, they're gonna do the same thing, but like,
I was just listening to the Rogan episode with Dan Henderson, and he talks about that, and he goes, maybe the new company's logo is just a wink. We're drug testing.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like they could put it in the contract per fight. It's like, hey, Connor will fight you. but he's on his shit. Are you cool with that? We'll put it in the contract. If you're cool with it, then you're cool with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're not, then obviously you can't fight him.
Yeah.
But like if the other fighter consents that it's cool, allow it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We're talking about guys that go in the ring that are beating the shit out of each other. Yeah. And a lot of them are probably already on something and are just sidestepping USADA somehow or whatnot. I'm of the belief, let them do it. Like, if you want the best competition and they're going to recover, they're going to be stronger, but they're going to recover faster. It's going to be let them do it in like a safe, where they're not using like gym gear, but they're getting it from a doctor. You know what I mean? Stuff's monitored and hey, your health. And
I get all that, but to me, I don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair for the guy who doesn't take it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I think everybody would at that point.
And
Like everybody weight cuts.
Everybody has a genetic gift. You know what I mean? Like Francis Ngannou, genetically blessed, stronger than everybody. Right?
Yeah.
Like the guy's probably born with abs. You know what I mean? So like him taking steroids on top of a normal guy taking steroids, it's going to help him way more. So not everybody's testosterone level starts at the same.
Right.
Some people are starting here.
Yeah.
So that's why you cannot allow them, because then you get this huge gap. Even if he's on it and I'd rather it's natural. Like, hey man, this is naturally how I am.
Right. Okay.
So to me, I don't think it's fair. Now, if you have an exemption, like, hey, you want to fight Francis for the bag, you got to know that Francis is on his stuff. Do you sign the waiver? Do you agree to these terms?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, I do, because I want the money. I want McGregor. Yeah. I don't care, because I know fighting McGregor, I get pay-per-view points or whatever. I get paid.
Yeah.
So I'll take that risk. So I don't, because you can't really label it. Like, the doctor gives you a prescription for 100 milligrams a week,
right?
And you got Vitor just freaking,
taking all of it,
yeah,
or going the Florida route and having 4 different doctors at 100 milligrams.
He's just
a week.
at home licking vials. You know what I'm saying? You can't regulate it. No. So jiu-jitsu wise, you compete, you want to compete? Like, what's the future?
So right now I teach at Julio's gym, and it's just a bunch of white belts, and I'm just teaching basics. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't really have like that going against other brown belts and stuff like that. So I competed for the first time twice now at Grappling X, just for the first time as a brown belt. You know what I mean? Just with like kind of like zero training. I still here and there catch open mats. You know what I mean? But it's very rare. Right. I'm most of the time teaching, and so I just competed. I just went right in there, and the first time it was against these 2 teammates, right? And they didn't have, so I got basically a free bracket because the guy didn't have anybody. So I went against him and his teammate. They're both older guys, right? Mm. And so it was interesting, man. I got submitted all 4 times, right? Back to back, but so there was no one else. It was just us 3. So I would go with this guy, and then as soon as that match was done, I would go over and go one with him, and then back to back to back 4 matches like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and then even his coach was like, "Dude, you sure? Like, you want like a longer break?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm good." I was like, "It's basically the same thing, like as hot potato rounds or whatever you want to call it." You know,
and
what
it's
I mean?
just
like,
time. It's a timing thing.
Yeah, right? And I just wanted to see where I stacked up. It wasn't like I was going for golds, you know what I mean, at IBJJF or something like that. You know what I mean? I just wanted to see where I stacked up and kind of get some hard rolls in.
Right.
And
it's a timing thing. Like I remember coming back from an injury or coming back from something like that. I'm always looking for, like I can see, oh, there's the arm bar, and then I miss it, and I'm like, dude, crap. Like 6 months ago, I would not have missed that. Like I saw it, my body just didn't react.
Yeah.
So it's just like with stand up or just like with anything, your timing of competition is off. Like you might have seen things, and you're like, damn, I couldn't have done it. Like sometimes I get on the sticks and I'm playing games with guys, and I'm getting murked now because I'm old as shit. And I'm just like, what the hell's going on? And I'm like, at 17, you would not have got that on me, dude. I can't believe I'm getting this. Like 17, like, because, I haven't played first person shooters since I was like in my early 20s. So I was like, you guys, like, just a timing thing.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it was.
Second, like it's definitely a step behind. That's how I felt this one just recently. I did October 1st, Grappling X. And against didn't have anybody in my weight class. So they bumped me up another weight class, and the guy was like probably like your size, but he was pretty good. He had 4 stripes on his brown belt. I've been a brown belt since 2016, but I don't know stripes, right? So, and at first, our first match, it was good. Like I had a solid. He pulled guard right away, broke guard, got into half guard. We were going around back and forth. He ended up beating me by points on the first one, and then the second one, it was the same thing. Like good, nice little scramble in the beginning, and then he swept me. I swept him, and then he got me back. It was like half guard top, and then he stood up and jumped triangle, and then he didn't get the triangle, but he jumped for the armbar instead.
And armbar, dog.
Dude.
Hey, dude.
It's my kryptonite, bro. That's what everyone
Don't
says.
ever hang out with Kenny's wife, dude.
That's her only moves that she knows. Just armbar. She's gonna armbar you. For
No,
sure.
she just screams armbar and then jumps on you and does something different.
does not even armbar.
Not even armbar.
Yes.
Armbar.
Yes.
Fucking tries to choke you from. I'm like, what are you doing?
Side kick to the
My
knee.
arm's over
Armbar.
here. Yeah.
Baseball bat. Armbar. So what's end game? Like, do you like teaching, right?
Yeah.
Is that something like, do you want to have your own academy? Do you want to open your own school? Do you want to teach for somebody?
100%. Yeah, 100%. When I started it, and like I was like 5 years in, I was like, dude, I want to do this like forever. Like I want to do martial arts forever. This is like my escape, like my, I've been, depressed and all that, we all have, and martial arts has been my pickup. Like, I've had a hard one, and it's a lot of it's, your own fault, self-inflicted. So you got to find ways to get back up on the horse, man. And martial arts has 100% been that. So like my goal was like, I want my own gym. I want to
think
teach
it's
people
cool
in the community, things that I've learned.
I think it's cool that you look at, not everybody makes it to the UFC.
Yeah.
You can have a whole MMA career, battle tested, fights, W's, losses, and still get something out of MMA, still get something out of jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
You look at, you're like, I want martial arts saved your life basically, right? Because like,
100%.
and you're like, I want to have a school in this, and you can still be a success. A lot of people are like, if you don't make it, it's so hard to do MMA because not everybody makes UFC, and then you see all these fighters that are struggling and this, that, you know what I mean? Like they're broke, but like you can just be a MMA fighter and still have a successful approach and be a success.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. I know plenty of guys that have their own gym, and they're doing pretty well. I wouldn't say like pretty well, like, oh, everybody's signing up to this gym, but they're doing what they love. Regardless if it's making them a grip of money or not.
If you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
Right.
You're doing it.
If it's sustaining your lifestyle and you're happy, it's not work at that point. And if those guys if they're training, if they're coaching, I'm assuming they're still training to an extent, you know what I mean? So their health is probably in a lot better place than most people that are kind of where they're at.
Do you have kids training?
My son, so they all do their own thing. One wants to be a ballerina and the other one wants to be a unicorn rider, but my son is the only one that I really like pushed it on, and he's still kind of like on the fence. He's done jiu-jitsu, for a little bit, and then he stopped. He played football. Football is like he wants to play football, so he's more interested in that. But I train him. I've been training him since he was a kid, could walk. Kid's always been in a gym, and so he knows like we'll be in the middle of Walmart or something like that, and I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, slip 2, and he'll hit it, pop, 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 slap, pop. And I'm like,
so
dude.
you feel like, because to me, I feel like we do a disservice to our kids if we don't show them what we know.
100%.
Because what if something happened to them and you're like, dude, I could have prevented that.
Yeah, I'll be damned, dude. I always had a thought when I was a kid, me not having growing up without a father, I'm learning how to be a man through letters from my uncle in jail, you know what I mean? Right. And so I always told myself, dude, because I always knew I wanted kids, I love kids. And I always told myself, when I have a son, I'm going to teach this boy, the right way. Like, the mess ups that I had, I guess that's our job as a parent anyway, to make sure that our kids don't make the same mistakes. But I knew I would have multiple kids too. So I was like, if I get a son first, like, fucks. Oh, dude, I'm teaching him, pull out game super weak. What pull out?
My man fucks.
That's what he's trying to say. Yeah, when I was young and wild. So
Yeah, same
the hard way.
same thing here. My dad not really involved and not really, so like sometimes a bad dad will teach you how to not be when you become a father.
Yeah.
And that, like, I always gave my dad a pass. I don't even want to give him the credit for that, but I always gave him a pass, like, but when I held my daughter for the first time and you feel that love,
Yeah.
and I'm like, then I immediately just had disdain for him. And I was like, hey, like, how did you have this situation with me and not feel how I feel towards her?
Right.
So that kind of I didn't know how much I didn't like my dad till I had my own kid. And then
you
like my
realized.
relationship changed. It came across like, now we're cool. It's an acquaintance, but our relationship has changed because I always kind of be like, oh, everybody like, just how your dad is, the drugs, all this. It's just what he does. Like, and I'd always kind of give him a pass. Well, now I give him no more passes. So I can definitely see how not having a father figure can really change you and make you want to be the best that you can be.
Yeah. So that's was always my thing. Like, tell my son, dude, like, you have little brothers and little sisters. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm dead and gone, you know what I mean? You have to look out for them. You're going to be the man, you know what I mean? And they're going to look up to you, your big bro, you know what I mean? And I don't want them to ever feel like they can't come to you for anything. Like, you're their protector. And it was a cool dad moment, man. We were at the park, right? And my son's riding bikes, and that kid, he makes friends with anybody, dude. He's such a good kid. Like, I don't ever want him to change. You know what I mean? He's such a good kid. He'll make friends with anybody. Doesn't matter the age. He could be like 5 years older than him. You want to play tag? You know what I mean? He's like 13, like smoking kids. Like, they can't even catch him. He's just dipping, dude. And so we're at the park, right? And then he makes friends with this little kid, dude. And all of a sudden I see my daughters are there, right? And the little kid tells my daughter, "You're ugly," like that, and laughs and then bounces out, right? And I saw the whole thing, right? And so I told my son, I was like, "Hey, man, you see that kid over there?" I said, he was just talking to your sister like crazy, man, telling her she's ugly. And I said, if he does that again, you know what I mean, you better tell him something. And he didn't even waste no time. He didn't even wait for the kid to go tell him something. You know what I mean? He just went over there and he's like, "Hey, you call my sister ugly?" And he's like, "What? No?" And he's like, "Yeah, you did. My dad heard you." Like busted me out right away. He's like, "My dad heard you. If you ever do that again, I'm gonna bust you up." And the kid was like, "Okay, gosh." and then my son just rode away, dude. And I was like, he's got it in him. He's got that dog in him too.
You gotta teach that alpha shit.
Yeah, man. He's got that
in
dog
a world
in him.
where they don't like it, you gotta teach that shit.
Yeah.
I have a little nephew, and I was like, him and my daughter are like best friends, and they, like, some kid was making fun of them, of my daughter, and I was like, "Hey, we protect our Vega girls. They're gold.
Right.
That's like, they got your last name no matter what. You look after your little sister or whatever it is." Like, and next day at the park, some little kid's being a little shit, and I just see him like, "Hey." I'm like, "That's my boy."
Mm-hmm.
So same thing. Like, I do not take that. Like, you protect your girls.
Mm-hmm.
So 100%. Now I got some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couple questions I put in on Oast Nation, and we'll get to them here. This is from C Mooney 187. How many years did it take you to get at each belt?
I got my blue belt. I started in 2009, right? Like March 2009. I got my blue belt by year like 4.
4, okay,
Yeah.
4 years.
And then from blue belt to purple belt, so year 4, 9, 11, 12, 13. I'm bad at math. I think by 2013, was when I got my blue belt. No, that's wrong. I got my blue belt in 2 years. Blue belt in 2 years, and then by 12, 13, I got my purple belt from Ricardo. And then that was when I lost my job. And then 2016, I got my brown belt by Eduardo Tellez. That was when I was with Jordan Moera. And then at that point, he was under Eduardo Tellez.
For me, like I said, I was a white belt for 5 years because I trained under blue belt for 3. All my guys kept getting deported back to Brazil. I've said this before. Before my professor left to Brazil, Fabiano Silva, he gave me his blue belt. So I had my blue belt. And then I waited 6 months because I thought he was coming back. He never came back. He said, "Go train with Poncho." Went to Poncho, Had a blue belt for 6 months. He gave me a purple belt right away. Kind of caught me up
Yeah, he's
to
like,
where I needed to be because I was a white belt for so long. Then 2 years at purple, 2 years at brown. Got my black. Got my black at like 9.5 years ish, and then I've got my first degree. So I'll be getting my second degree maybe next summer. Kenny, how long did it take you to get that blue belt, my man?
If you include the 3.5 year break, 5. But
It counts. You take a break, it counts. You take your starts.
you YouTube jiu-jitsu at that point.
Yeah.
At home.
I started in 2017, and I got my blue belt in 2022.
But consistently going strong for the last couple of years, right?
Year and a half. Yeah. It was a year and a half at dedicated, and then I got it.
What's your guys' favorite guard? Obviously, mine is lasso guard. To me, why I chose lasso guard is because guys would always complain that I was just smashing them because I'm too big. And so they'd like, oh, you beat me because you're too big. We've had a viral reel about this and pissed a lot of people off. But they would say that. So I went to lasso, pull guard, put the lasso in, and I'd sweep guys and then smash them that way. And lasso kind of locks that arm in and stops guys from scrambling all over the place. So for me, for my body type, I found out lasso is definitely, without a doubt, it's my favorite guard. And I think it's the best guard for big guys. Poncho would be like, I disagree. I think it's butterfly or half guard. But for me, lasso. And I'm one of the only guys who do lasso in our gym religiously.
Yeah.
But for me, I would say lasso guard. You?
Lasso guard. I like half guard. I like half guard a lot. Like I hit a lot of like X guard stuff and like, bounce from Delahiva to X guard and stuff like that. I use lasso a lot too. I like to, there's a omoplata, like, the spinning omoplata from lasso. Yeah, I love that. Kick, like, the bottom leg, kick the knee out just to create space and then
spin
just
underneath
go,
and grab it. And then if you can go all the way around, hit the triangle.
Yeah, triangle arm bars right there.
All the way around, arm bars right there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love
You guys just both got really excited about that.
It's so much more room for activities.
So much room for activities.
Half guard. And I obviously I play a lot of lockdown.
So me and Kenny had a round. We didn't talk about this.
Oh, we didn't.
Yeah, I was interested to hear about this. I was hoping you guys were going to talk about this.
We didn't have a round. Matt just grapple fucked me for 5 fucking minutes.
We didn't talk about this. Me and Kenny had a round. And I said on the pod, I'm going to pass to the right. Did I pass to the right? I passed to the right.
Yeah.
I made sure I wasn't going to pass to the left. I made sure I passed to the right, but he did put me in his little lockdown bullshit on the leg that I don't like to be locked down on. I was like, you motherfucker. I was like, God damn it. He really is quick with getting that lockdown in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. We got through it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just let him know, like, guys, I have pressure game.
I just didn't want to get thrown the way that in that video you threw that dude.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, as soon as I get the grips, he just drops to his knees.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey man,
well, Church told me, he goes,
I need to put these grips on my wife.
Church told me, he goes, when I grabbed him, he's like, that's your first mistake. And then he grabbed me and he goes, and that's your second. And then he threw me, and I was like, right after it was done, he goes, Matt's gonna do that too, by the way. And I was like, fuck. So I just committed those. As soon as I felt that first grip, I was like, nope.
He drops his knee. I need to do that one to my wife because I cannot get this girl to her knees to save my life. Kenny just dropped right down, dude. I was like, hey, man, let's just pull guard next time. Let's just pull guard. But no, it was fun. Fun rounds. So, yeah, man, I've been awesome having you on the show. That's pretty cool, man. First guest, bro. You took that virginity. You took this Mike's virginity right now. First guest.
Old Blue.
Old Blue.
My boy Blue.
So, yeah, man, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
we'll definitely have to do it again. It was fun just talking this shit. Getting an MMA perspective on the show is pretty cool, because, like I said, I dabbled in like a couple smokers. I would not say I was an MMA fighter, even though I trained it for a while. And it was cool to see MMA guy or talk to an MMA guy.
Yeah. And this was like, it's cool too, like the transition, like, I'm an MMA guy, I'm a striker,
right?
What I consider myself, but here coming towards the end of my career, I'm probably gonna do like one more fight and then call it quits, and then I'm transitioning. I'm just shifting all that energy into jiu-jitsu because that's how much I love it. That's how much I fell in love with it.
And I feel like longevity-wise, jiu-jitsu is the sport that can like go forever.
Yeah,
you can 100%. Do that longer.
Yeah, I want to be that 56-year-old guy like you're talking about. On the show, like I want to be that guy doing jiu-jitsu still.
So
Did we ask him? Did you had a knee injury yet?
No, I was telling him before, like, dude, I've never had a knee injury, but like the only time ever something that's happened to my knee was at Purple Belt. It was like one of those, like, where the guy came,
see, guys,
and I turned my knee like that, and he collapsed down on me, and it like made like a funny like noise, and it felt weird for like, I'd swear, like 2
Purple
months.
Belt.
2 months. I couldn't walk like straight. It felt like I was walking like this, like it was stuck like that.
That's the knee injury belt, 100%. Purple Belt. Anything you want to plug? Got anything?
Nah, man, not like my, Instagram page or anything like that. Like,
Nothing
I don't want
crazy.
to.
Just came in to
Nothing
shoot the
crazy,
shit.
man. I just came to shoot the shit with my boys, man. It was
All right,
nice
man.
to meet
That
this
was
guy.
awesome. Hell yeah.
I've known my man Kenny here for a while, man. He's just such a good dude, man. This guy does like a lot for me. Not just like, what I mean? He's been my boy at work, and and helped me like go to the right directions at work. And I actually do look to him for a lot of advice. Like,
It's very cool having you on. And again, everybody, thanks for all the support.
Absolutely. Share all this guy's stuff, man. Like, it's good quality stuff, man. Like, I listen to it, and it's like, it's a joy at Tuesday morning driving to work, dude. I put it on, and I'm like, my son's like, who's this? And I'm like, it's my boys talking. You know what I mean?
Now
I don't even know this guy.
It's
Like, my
now
boys.
you get to hear yourself on the radio.
Yeah, they're excited.
It's gonna you're gonna be like, man, I sound weird.
I sound weird.
Yeah.
The whole time I've been thinking in my head, like I'm like super echoing. Like,
that's like, I'm like, that's what I sound like. Yeah. My wife saw Kenny he has such a great voice for
voice boinder.
He has such a great. She's like, I'm like, hey, chill out. She's like, he has such a great voice on the podcast.
So
I'm like, what about
soothing.
mine? I'm like, what about mine? She's like, I'm like, all right, cool.
She's like, I hear you all the time.
I sound like Brendan Schaub. I get it. That's what everybody said.
That was the first episode came out. My wife's like, he sounds like Brendan Schaub. And then I had 3 other people tell me that too. And I'm like,
all right,
then I went back and listened to it. And I'm like, I can kind of hear it.
It's there, dude. It's nasally. I've had a nose reconstruction. Okay. I'm nasally. I get it. But again, like us on all platforms, TikTok, YouTube, BJJ Balance. We're on the rise, and that's all because of you guys. It's at BJJ Balance pretty much on everything. Follow me at Oast Nation BJJ on Instagram and all other socials. Follow Kenny at The Freak Party. And handle anything? Nothing?
Tony _ the Savage.
Tony the Savage.
Check me out. I just post like martial arts stuff.
Follow him.
my
and
kids,
yeah.
my family.
Hell yeah, man. So thanks again. And
yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
We'll catch you guys around on the next one.